Hello, beautiful souls, beautiful people on this planet. I want to talk to you today about possibility of you perpetuating your pain, and your pain becoming a habit. So this might be a little bit of a kind of like, what the fuck is she saying? How am I perpetuating or making my pain a habit? But it actually is very, very well shown and scientifically proven now that we perpetuate our pain, our chronic pain. It becomes like a memory, and we live with that memory, and so therefore constantly remind ourselves and live in that the live in the past by having the memory of it, the feeling, the sensations. I'm going to explain to you in a minute how that actually works. So our health or our lack of health is actually a program, right? That we are conditioned, is a program that we were given as a child. We're conditioned to have habits, and habits of health or habits of sickness, right? Now, this sounds a bit weird as well, right? But it's all the physical, mental, and emotional habits that we have in our lives, in our daily life at this moment in time are the, creating our health or our sickness, right? So we start to have a habit of pain. Maybe you have a fall, and then you have these, it continues, and it gets, gets into a groove, and you start to identify with this pain, right? And I'm a living survivor, a thriver of chronic pain. I now don't have chronic pain. I'm just saying that I was a thriver in the sense that I managed to overcome it with just changing my daily habits and changing my physical, mental, and emotional habits towards my pain, towards the pain. You saw that I said my, right? We start to identify it, right? So that was a slip to remind me and to remind you not to say it, right? When we start to say things like, I have a bad knee, or I have a bad back, or I have a bad ankle, or I am bad at this, or I am good at that, right? This is all the ways that we actually start to see ourselves and identify ourselves as our own, as the self-image, right? So the self-image of health or sickness is a paradigm that we have been given by our parents, and very rarely do we actually upgrade it, right? So we actually perceive the paradigm just means that we're kind of like, it's the box or the system of thoughts that we have about health, right? And we can get attached to these beliefs that we have something wrong with us and we have a problem, right? So I have rheumatoid arthritis, or I have fibromyalgia, Crohn's disease, ME, celiac disease, all of these things. I have allergies, or I'm prone to allergies, or I am prone to getting colds or flus at certain times or certain periods of the year. All of these are beliefs. The placebo and the nocebo effect, we all know about the placebo effect, but we don't actually know about or are taught about the nocebo effect, which is the opposite of the placebo. So you think that something's going to make, in a placebo, you think you get given a pill and you think that's going to help, or you get given some kind of treatment and you think that's going to help. And this is, proven daily in scientific studies, chronic in, double-blind clinical trials. I used to work in our research and development, so I know very well how this all works. The placebo is a hugely, documented and accepted thing. This is just the power of the belief, right? The belief that something will help. But they also have the nocebo effect, that something's going to make you worse, right? So when you eat that food and you have celiac and you think it's going to make you worse, it is going to make you worse. There is obviously a programming. There's obviously a physical response to the food if you have a sensitivity, obviously, but the mindset and the programming, the reprogramming, and the maintenance of that program is perpetuated by our brain by the neural wiring in our brain, right? Well, so the words that we use to describe our health is very, very important. We're all the brain, or our brain is always listening. Our body is always listening, and so we need to be very, very careful how we talk to ourselves, right? So just about the nocebo effect, sorry, I just want to add as well about the nocebo effect, that the diagnosis from a doctor of that this pain or this illness or this disease is going to be a life, is going to be forever, is one of the strongest and most detrimental aspects of the nocebo effect. Believing that this is, going to be there forever, or be chronic forever, is the number one pitfall that all my clients, that's I help clients get over, because it is a thought pattern. So the thought of something that, the thought of your disease or your chronic pain or your bad back or your bad shoulder or your neck, all these things that you have, are creating images in your brain, and we live and we work from images, basically. So the words that you use are creating the images that we actually create in our brains, and that image creation is actually the blueprint for tomorrow. So it's for the subconscious mind goes towards that, right? This is NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It's not something wacky-dacky. It's really, really vital. So when you say things like, this pain is killing me, or it's I'm a living hell, or my body is broken into many pieces or feels broken, or I'm being stabbed, I'm a train wreck, I'm a mess, I have this diagnosis or I have that diagnosis, right? All of these things are creating the strong images in our body to actually move towards, right? So the self-image is not something new. It's actually been studied very quite a lot, but it's actually rarely kind of tied in with chronic pain. And so we need to start to realize that it's vital. That's the way that we function. That's our brain functions in this way. So what actually happens is we wake up in the morning, we check that our body is worse or better, like how is my symptom, how is the symptom today, right? We wake up, we see we have the symptom, we still have the pain, the feelings, emotions that come in with that, the disappointment, the annoyance, the frustration, the desperation. I know it all. After 20 odd years of chronic pain, in and out of chronic pain, the cycles, the sadness, the frustration, the anger, right? And now, but when you wake up in the morning, you have this, and then you go through this process very quickly in split seconds, and then you're now living, your physiology is, with all those heavy emotions, is now living in the past as well, right? So we are literally, again, from the fight, flight, freeze, from the fight, flight, freeze response, our body goes into, emergency state. All the cascade of emotion of chemicals are released in the body, and we're living in this perpetuated state of chronic dis-ease. Okay, so what do we do, right? And as Joe Dispenza very lovingly and says, Joe Dispenza being one of the neuroscientists of mind-body syndrome and how to heal yourself, he says it very nicely, that our personal reality creates our personality, and our personality is the rules that we live by for tomorrow, right? So So I'm just hoping that this is bringing a bit of awareness about how you actually can talk to yourself about your situation, right? You be careful of the words you use and the images that you create. If you are creating the worst case scenario in your brain, you will go unwillingly towards that, right? So we have to start creating the images with mental rehearsal, which is also very, very well studied and shown to be shown to benefit not only top athletes, but obviously all these the neural networking and how to actually retrain your brain. And visualization or mental rehearsal is one of the most important aspects of that. So we can, if you're not doing it as a habit or doing it as a daily ritual, then I highly recommend that you do. You cannot retrain your brain without linking in images and visualizing your future with high level, coupling it with high level emotions or higher vibrational emotions like gratitude, love, peace, joy, bliss, all these things, right? So you say, like, how can I actually start feeling these emotions when I'm already in chronic pain? Right? This is the kind of the where you have to just have a bit of faith and a bit of trust in this work. It takes a bit of time to undo the effects of chronic pain and the wiring that has happened and the conditioning in with the emotion, with the strong emotions usually linked with fear or desperation, anger or whatever, right? So we rarely actually create the feelings of what we want to have in our lives. We are actually living an inside-out world. I keep saying this, but it's a really, really important concept that we normally are governed by our senses. So we see the swollen joint, or we feel the sensations of pain in our body, and we have this constant reminder, and then linked in with these intense emotions of anger, fear, sadness, and that's the perpetuating loop, right? So what we have to do is we need to start creating higher vibrations in our body before the thing actually happens, before the pain-free you is here right now. But this is the power of thought. The power of the thought is a vibration, and it's emotion. It connects to an emotional vibration. All of these vibrations create different releases of chemicals and hormones. I've talked about this in many of the videos before. So go back and have a look at my masterclass in emotions and see how that actually comes in. So what we need to start to do is elevate our emotions before we actually are healed. We have to bring in the emotions of gratitude. I said this yesterday in the video. If you haven't started a power of gratitude is changed my life. And it's one of the habits, the healing habits that I bring in, that my clients bring in, and have seen massive changes as well. And so when you can start to actually do that, linked in with your strong vision of your healed body, your healed back, your healed neck, your healed rheumatoid arthritis. In fact, one of my clients who had rheumatoid arthritis had this beautiful vision of herself rejoicing and celebrating her 40th birthday with her family, and having be able to eat the cake that she wanted, and having this amazing experience. And she visualized it and vividly, and mentally rehearsed it every single day, every morning and every night, so that with elevated emotions of gratitude, bliss, grateful, happiness, excitement, enthusiasm, and we're literally rewiring the brain and creating the images of where we want to go towards, right? We do this all the time, but we just don't realize it. We're literally always visualizing the outcome of what we want, usually or the outcome of what we don't want, right? So just make sure that you are, in order to reprogram your brain, you're visualizing the outcome of what you want, whatever that outcome is. If it's health related, yes, that's what we're talking about, but it can be anything related to your next level, you know, your health and growth. Okay. So visualize with high elevated motions, especially in the morning and especially at night, because we are more autosuggestible at those times when our brain level, what they call the wavelength, brainwave, alpha theta state. We're in alpha and theta state rather than beta state. And so we are more susceptible or receptible to change, and so that's the most beneficial time to do it. Okay, so with that, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I hope that's really helped. It's really, really vital. I can't stress it enough, so please do it. I invite you, if you want to be full of health and radiance and vitality, to actually start this practice every single day. Habit building for painless living. I help clients get out of chronic pain, chronic symptoms and dis-ease that have been perpetuated, and with the mind, and we can do it. You can change your mind, you can retrain your brain to get out of this perpetuating habit of pain and chronic disease. Okay. With that, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm an immunologist. I was working in research and development, and I have a master's in neurology and PhD in immunology. Neuroimmunology is one of the greatest fields now of mind-body syndrome, the connection, mind-body connection, and how that's related to mind-body syndrome. And it's just the importance, this is so important, because unfortunately the medical system is not giving us the answers to these chronic, misdiagnosed or undiagnosed symptoms that's become an epidemic worldwide. So follow me for more videos on this, and hopefully I will help you get yourself out of chronic pain. If you need more help with that, please contact me, DM me. I'm available for one-on-one coaching and also groups. And I'm very excited to break this cycle of an epidemic of mind-body syndrome. So with that, I love you, leave you, and take care. Bye.